Hello, welcome back to the channel. My name's Julie, and this is my husband,
Justin,
and we're full-time resellers. All right, guys, it is the final video in our series of trying to increase our June sales by being consistent. So if you haven't watched the other videos, I did make a playlist. I recommend going back and watching them all, but if you just want a spoiler, you want to fast forward and see how the challenge went, this is the video for you. So back in the beginning of June, we decided to try to make June one of our better months instead of our worst month. Notoriously, June has always been bad for us. We have vacations in June the last 2 years, which didn't help, but also just sales before we went on vacation were just not great.
so we made up a list of non-negotiables for every day for the month.
So I'm just going to quickly recap the list because I don't want to bore those that have been following along, but every day we go back and find all the items that were listed 2 months prior and hit sell similar. We obviously had to photograph the items that we were listing. We listed a total of 20 items. We cross-listed those items to Poshmark. I shared on Poshmark using Flyp every day to the limit. Work on the draft bank as needed. List a minimum of 2 death pile items, but we blew through our death pile probably by the first or second week of the challenge. So we got that all done, reset the eBay room, and plan out our next day. So that was the list of everything that we need to do, and it was a lot. So I guess with no further ado, I'm going to show you how we did for the month. I'm going to insert a clip of showing you like the eBay performance page.
So here is our sales report for June 1st through June 30th. We did $10,872 in total. You know, that's the fake number that I talk about, this one right here, that includes shipping charges, taxes, fees, etc. What eBay put in our bank account was $6,304.89. But the main thing we want to talk about for this challenge was we wanted to increase our June sales because normally June is a horrible month for us. So as you can see, same time period as last year, we were able to increase our sales by 61.2%. That is huge. Way higher than I thought we'd do. And if I switch it out to the same time period last month, just out of curiosity, our sales increased 42.6% from May for this exact same 30 days in May compared to 30 days in June. So overall, awesome. We sold 318 items, and if we go down here, here's like the whole chart. So as you can see, we had a great day yesterday. It actually was the best day of the month. There was definitely ups and downs, but overall, I guess not too bad. And then this is where we ended up on Poshmark for the month. We sold 48 items for $987.
All right, so you saw the numbers on the page, but I'll give it a more detailed breakdown here. I just don't ever want to be accused of giving out false information, so I wanted to show you the data behind it. But so we sold 318 items on eBay, 48 on Poshmark, so 366 items total. We listed 600, so 600, 366 sold. I mean, statistically, by the numbers, I would have hoped that we would have listed sold a bit more than that. But I guess, we did decent. Total eBay sales, this is the big fake number I talk about that has like all the fees and the shipping still in it, was $10,872. Poshmark was $10,057, so sales were just under $12,000 for the month. Netting on eBay, which is before cost of goods and like anything we bought, expenses the business incurred for the month, was $6,304 on eBay, $841 on Poshmark, so total $7,146.34. And our total profits for the month, which what we got in our pockets, which we will pay income tax on, is $6,029.39. I'll insert a clip here showing you this, how we got to this number in my reseller Genie.
All right, so here is our month recap in my reseller Genie. You guys that have been here for a while know my reseller Genie is the accounting software I use. It was actually created by a reseller and her accounting husband. I absolutely love it. As you'll see, it gives a great breakdown of your numbers for the month. It's very reasonably priced. I have their highest tier plan and it's $19.99 a month. Use code Mrs. Frugal to save 15% off your first month. So here's the breakdown. This income section is all of the income we brought in for the month and all of the returns. As you can see, $417.64 in returns on eBay, because you guys know it was a heavily return month. And Poshmark, did I have any returns? Refunds, yes. I had canceled orders on Poshmark, so that's what the $79 was. We also, let's see, let's go down here. Cost of goods, we spent $789.02 on items that we bought to resell. The fees on Poshmark were $342.59 for the month. We paid $2,189.59 to ship all of our items. Shipping supplies, I spent $163 on. That is actually bubble wrap? Was it bubble wrap? No, it was tape. I'm sorry. I bought a huge case of packing tape from American Bubble Boy, and that was what the $100 was. And then fees on eBay was $16.67. So that takes our gross profit to $6,273. And then we have other business expenses, which was just some more office supplies like poly bags, things like that. Subscription, that's for my reseller Genie, and then our internet, and that brings our total profits to the month to $6,099.79.
So obviously we wanted to increase our sales for the month of June, and we did it. 61.2% increase from June of 2023. And even just to give a more, current, that's the word I was looking for. And even to give a more current comparison, sales were up 42.6% compared to May. So it worked. It really increased our sales and it really kicked our butt. So now we're going to kind of jump into what we learned from this challenge. I also did want to touch upon, before we get to the pros and cons, things that we achieved this month. So we inventoried the entire Poshmark closet, which seems like a million years ago. That was like on what day, like 1 of the challenge, something like that. All of a sudden I sold 2 things on Poshmark that had already sold on eBay, and I freaked out because I canceled them on Poshmark, and I was like, we have to inventory our entire Poshmark, and we did it in like 3 hours in one afternoon. On top of getting our 20 listings up on the first day of the challenge, on top of it being a Saturday when we were sourcing, it was pure insanity, but we got it done. Also inventoried our eBay store. We cleared off our entire death pile shelf, which really wasn't tons, but it was a decent amount, and it's so nice to have that done. And when needed, we created a draft bank. So we would work on it all through the week and then use it on Friday when we went to the bins, or we also created one when we went to Lake Erie for a day. So we created a draft bank. So those were, the achievements we had throughout the month. So I'm going to talk about should we start with the pros or should we start with the cons? I don't want to end on a negative note. We'll start with the cons or the fails, whatever you want to call them. I was pretty unhappy at times during this challenge. That's the number one con. It was just the pressure, of knowing I had to get it done. I just felt like the weight of the world was on me. He would list normally 3, but there was a couple of days where he listed 5 or 6 because I was like, I get it done. And there was a couple of days where he was running low on inventory, especially to the end, where he was really scraping up stuff.
Yeah, luckily I had picked up some free weights, and also
Twice, I think, during the month.
Yeah, got a couple nice buys right before we started this, so I had a lot of inventory and I just spread it out over the month, where normally I might have just gone through and like listed it all right away, but I just kind of went through it through the month, and it carried me through to do like 3 to 5 listings a day for the whole month.
Two other things that just kind of I would have liked to have done slightly better on was the draft bank. So we would create a draft bank and then we would use it like that week, but I never consistently got like a huge one. I would just get like the 20 items I needed for that Friday and then use it all. In the ideal world, like this last week, I would have been working on a draft bank because we're going out of town for like 4 days over the 4th of July. But I just didn't have it in me anymore. I was just like, I got to get my 20 listings up for the day, and like I'm fried. So we won't be listing while we're out of town, but I'm going to call that a well-deserved break. And for the house, we had there was another part of this list that just talked about how we need to stay on top of the house. And we did for overall, like we got the dishwashers loaded, the counters wiped down every day, the vacuum and rooms vacuumed and stuff. But deep cleaning didn't really happen, so that is going to be my focus in July. All right, now we'll go over to the positive things. The number one thing is it created discipline. I had to do it even if I didn't want to do it. And there is something about that, there was a couple times where, especially this last week, I was listing till like 11:30 at night because we had something going on and I just had put it off in the morning, or we didn't have time in the morning because we were sourcing. So it definitely created I have to do this. And I'm very happy that I followed through, because on day 26th, it definitely started to creep into my mind. You're almost done. Do you have to get the listings up? No one will know if you don't get these listings up. But I knew, so I had to do it. It created persistence. Do you want to tell about persistence?
Oh, so there were times when we went to source and our normal 99-cent day sourcing, and we just weren't finding anything. So we ended up going to another store just a little farther away, and we did good, got enough at those stores to make it worthwhile. But normally we might have just come home and said, all right, it's a loss, but we really needed the inventory. We couldn't just stop and not get it. So
there was many days where we were sourcing for what we needed to list that day because we just could not keep up. Once I got it only took me a week and a half to 2 weeks to list the death pile. And once I had all that, and plus everything we already had just newly sourced. So then it was trying to find enough items, because we had 2 weeks in a row where our bins trips were horrible, and that didn't help the situation. Luckily, our bins trip, which was the previous video I put up, was amazing, and that helped us finish out with a bang. And the last positive is it just created a habit. Even if I don't list 20 items, sorry, I hit my microphone, that's going to yell. It created a habit. Even if I don't list 20 items every single day, there's just that little nagging in me, you gotta list, you can't not list. Yesterday was the first non-June day, it was July 1st, and we had a lot going on in the house. We were just organizing things, we were in and out of the attic and stuff, and it could have been a perfect excuse, take the day off, you've listed 20 days in a row, but it was it felt weird not to list. So we ended up getting 11 items up for the day. So I was fine with that. But yeah, I feel like it now is a habit, and I'm hoping, like I said, I won't be listing for the 4th of July, but I'm hoping when I come back from the 4th of July, it will just continue to be we're not really going to skip a day, because we've always been pretty consistent with listing, excluding the fact that it was normally Fridays we wouldn't list because we would go to the bins, and our numbers were very inconsistent. There could be 5 listed one day, and then the next day would be 30 something. So, we were trying to find consistency. For July, I would like to list 10 to 15 items a day. I plan to doing around 10 myself, and then the
weights just depend on what I can find, because I'm really...
It comes and goes in waves. It's he either has 6 buys in a 3-day period, and then he doesn't find weights to sell for 2 weeks. It's very odd.
The market is very competitive on, the local market on marketplace, and Craigslist is just
And it
a
seems
lot of people
crazy to
buy and
me
sell weights.
that there are
Yeah.
still any weights in the tri-state area that he hasn't purchased, but there are. So that's, my listing goal. As I said, we will not be listing over the holiday weekend. I want to deep clean our house. And the other thing in July is we just have a couple small like home improvement projects that sure weren't happening last month. We need to like fix a broken towel on the kitchen floor. I'd like to put some trim in my entryway. We're even debating on pulling carpet up in one of the rooms, so not all of that will get done in July, unless I'm taking the month of July just to do home projects. But I just have a list that I'm running off of, so we'll see what we can get done. So that is pretty much the recaps, of how the month went. And the main moral to the story is if you list consistently every day, you too can up your sales, and maybe it won't be by the 61.2% we did, but I feel like you will definitely see an increase as long as you're listing quality items. You can't just throw any 20 items up every day, because that was like the thing. Like when it was hard to source items, we still had to keep ourselves like, okay, we can't just go out and buy crap that's going to only sell for like, $10 because we need listings for the day. We were still very particular about what we buy. I absolutely encourage you guys to try it for yourselves. See if consistently listing every day increases your sales. I know a lot of you were following along at home doing your own challenge, so please in the comments below, let me know how your month went. Did your sales go up? Did you have more returns like I did? Just curious to see how it went for everybody else. All right, we appreciate you taking the time to watch. If you're watching this in real time, have a wonderful and safe holiday weekend, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye.
Bye.